Welcome. Thank you for coming to practice with me. So, a little different today. This practice, if you read the invitation, promise to keep it simple. Just move, breathe, align. And in that sense, using alignment more as a tool to more honestly engage areas of strength and using movement as a tool to perhaps more honestly engage presence of mind. Let's give it a try. So coming up onto your feet if you're not already there. And I'm going to start with an alignment practice. So that would be left hand on your abdomen below your navel, right hand on your sacrum behind. And then it's just tipping your hips back and forth, finding end range of motion so that you can more or less settle right in the middle. Hips neither tipped forward nor back, somewhere right about in the middle. And then keeping that hand on your abdomen so that hips don't move. Using your thumb and index finger, hooking them under your collarbones and lifting collarbones, chin, just a bit. And then taking that same hand and just lightly lifting the back of your head. So tipping your gaze down slightly. Yeah. And then come to standing. Yeah, this right here, pretty much mountain pose. Perhaps a little bit different alignment feeling. I will add some movement, but before we do so, how about taking your toes and just turning them out slightly, just a little bit, so that you can lift your heels on an inhale and exhale, lower back down. And then slightly turned out toes, slightly closer together heels. Maybe inviting a little bit more stability in the movement. Yeah. And let's add the arm movement then on an inhale, sweeping up, and exhale, coming back down. Remember that sense you had just a little while ago, how we first started. And I said this right here is pretty much mountain pose. See if you can keep that feeling right here. Aligning knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. Next time you come on down, pause there. And we'll just do some of those side tilts. So on an inhale, sweeping left arm up and over, tilting to the right. And then a little bit of a gaze up underneath your arm towards the ceiling. Full deep inhale to lift you up and out. We'll just do two more of those. So it's inhale, tilting over. Exhale, full deep inhale, lift you up. And one more last one. Yeah. All right. Go into the other side. 3 on the other side. But here's the challenge. Full deep inhale lifts you up. The challenge is, can you keep that sense of alignment? Ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, ears, even as you, there you go, even as you tilt and look towards the ceiling. And you've already finished that third one. Just waiting for a moment. Coming on, huh? All right. So we'll go right into some sun salutations and build on those. Inhale, sweeping up and looking up, right up between your hands. Exhale, folding. extending through the crown of your head, lifting just a bit, and then rounding, coming all the way upside down, sweeping all the way back up. So building on that, we'll add the dog pose. Inhale, sweep in. Exhale, fold. Here's that lift extending through the crown of your head. Exhale, looking back between your legs, coming down to hands and knees. Curling your toes under, bringing hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So no special alignment yet. Knees bent, heels off the floor. Just getting some length in shoulders and spine. Coming to hands and knees. Stepping forward, forward, fold. Little bit of a lift, inhale. Upside down, exhale, sweeping all the way up. And looking up between your hands. Coming back up. Standing tall. So we'll add one more element to the sun salutation, and then we'll be on the floor for a bit. Inhale, sweeping up, looking up. Exhale, folding. Little bit of a lift, extending. Upside down. Coming to hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Just a breath or two here. And upside down. Coming to hands and knees. And then knees coming back just a bit. Maybe a good 6 inches or so. So you can bring hips forward, aligning knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. See if you can keep that alignment as you lower yourself down, slow, smooth, strong, all the way down to the floor. See if you can keep that alignment as you push all the way back up. Now let's go back to child's pose. Extending arms forward, seat coming back towards your knees. And then we'll just come forward again to that same alignment, knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. Yeah, so often the ears part is the trickiest part of the alignment. And extending back and coming forward and lowering down, keeping that alignment best you can. And then pushing back up. And coming seated. Coming onto your back with knees over hips and lower leg parallel to the floor. So we got kind of a 90-degree angle here. And you might notice that it kind of puts your lower back just slightly off the floor. Let's draw our knees in just a bit until lower back comes a little bit closer, if not touches the floor. Now see if you can keep lower back moving towards the floor as you take your knees back out over your hips. There's that 90-degree angle. And then we'll just tap the right foot down, bring it back up. And the left foot down, bring it back up. So this 90-degree angle is an alignment to perhaps more directly engage core strength. Well, you're free to keep moving one foot, tapping alternate feet at a time, or you could take both feet, tapping, oh, there you go, tapping them down, bring them back up. That 90-degree engagement, alignment, promoting some strength. All right. Bring this back in. And then let's take feet to the floor. Next time feet come to the floor, pausing there. And then Reaching hands up towards the ceiling, interlacing your fingers, bringing those interlaced hands behind your head. And now lightly lifting your head off the floor with your hands, your arms. So that neck is doing little, if anything at all, to lift your head. And then lightly tractioning the back of your skull out of your spine, just a bit. And on an exhale, rolling on up, shoulder blades just coming off the floor. Rolling back down. Yeah. So with the hands lifting your head, throat and neck soft. Tractioning just a bit. Here's a little bit of a different alignment, perhaps a different engage. Next time you come on down, pause. Okay? And we'll bring those legs up to the 90 degrees. So we kind of combine things just a bit here with legs, lower legs and thighs at the 90-degree angle. Now we bring up. There we go. So kind of a combination of what we just did. Yeah, tractioning a little bit, lifting neck soft. Neck not doing much of anything to lift your head. All right, last one. And rolling on down, feet to the floor. Rolling to one side and extending your legs out a little bit of an angle in front of you. So coming onto your side, and notice I've got my lower side flank, ribs, flank, just a little bit off the floor, a little bit of a space there, and I'm letting my head rest down onto my arm. So keeping this alignment so that I'm not tipping my hips in and lower flank resting on the floor. So see if you can keep that alignment as you take that top leg up and first draw it back behind you and then up in a circle and over and back. So leg circles, side leg circles. And the challenge here with this alignment, head resting down, lower flank lifting up. With this alignment, more honestly engaging strength. Let's go the other way with the leg. Just a few times. Just a few times going this way. All right, and then bringing that leg straight out in front of you and lifting and lowering it a few times. Yeah. So head want to lift off and help lift the leg. Lower flank want to arch into the floor. If so, then perhaps leg doesn't lift all that far, keeping the alignment. Let's keep that front leg, top leg straight out in front and bring the lower leg forward just a bit. And then lift the lower leg towards the ceiling. And head resting down, lower flank lifting up. All right, and then let's bring both legs into alignment, torso, neck, and head. Ready for this part. Head resting down, lower flank lifting up, legs lift and lower. Perhaps legs don't even come off the floor. Better to have legs not moving so much and keeping alignment. Head resting, flank lifting. All right, let's do the other side. So I'm going to swap ends here so I don't look away from you. Remember how we started? It was with that lower flank off the floor, head resting down. And then it's the top leg reaching back, up and over. Leg circles, side leg circles. Mhm. So maybe 4 or 5 one way, and then the same thing the other way, going back, leg now going back, keeping that alignment best you can. Perhaps head and neck want to help lift the leg. Perhaps hips want to tip as well. Even if leg doesn't move all that much, better to keep the alignment and more honestly engage your strength. All right, after going both directions, that top leg comes straight out and lifts and lowers. Just a few times, 3 or 4 times. Yeah, and maybe a leg doesn't lift all that much, but more honest engagement. With leg straight out in front now, lower leg comes forward a bit and it lifts 3 or 4 times. And now both legs in alignment with torso, neck, and head. Yeah, here's the interesting part. Both legs lifting and lowering. And again, it's not so important how high your legs lift. Maybe they don't even come off the floor. They just get a little bit lighter on the floor to more honestly engage. All right. Let's come onto your back. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Just a little bit of release for everything. And then coming up onto hands and knees, pushing all the way back to child's pose. Coming back forward, and we'll come onto our back for just a little bit here. Having done all of that work with the legs, sometimes gets hip flexor muscles a little bit, I don't know, what's the word? Over engaged, a little bit tight. So a bridge pose here. How about rolling your lower back into the floor, lifting hips up? Not the biggest bridge ever, just kind of a foot bridge. Noticing in this little bridge movement what the range of motion may be. Next thing you come on down, just pausing there. And then taking your feet wide, a little bit wider than shoulder width. And tip your knees over to the left. Bring them back center, tip them over to the right. Legs, knees don't have to come all the way to the floor. In fact, better if they don't. Just a few inches, maybe 6 or even 8 inches off the floor. Coming back up to center now. Kind of the same movement with arms. Reaching arms up towards the ceiling, grabbing opposite elbows. And now elbows off to the left. Elbows off to the right. Shoulder blades sliding on the floor. So floor giving your spine an interesting alignment. And now as elbows go one way, knees go the other way. And you can even add a turn of your head. Gaze following movement of your knees. So knees going one way, gaze going along with them. Elbows going the other way. All right, coming back center. Bringing your arms down. Bringing your feet back in. We're going to revisit bridge pose. Let's see what happens. Rolling your lower back into the floor and lifting hips up towards the ceiling. See what, if any, difference there may be in range of motion. Rolling back down. We'll just do one more. Still not the biggest bridge ever. Little bit longer foot bridge. All right, coming back on down. Rolling to one side, coming up on hands, knees, curling your toes under, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's see what, if any, difference there might be aligning hands, shoulders, and hips. Or just letting your head hang for now. Maybe even shaking your head yes and no. Coming back to hands and knees, stepping forward, fold. Bit of a lift, extending forward through the crown of your head. Rounding, coming upside down. Inhale, sweeping all the way up. Arms to the side. All right. So let's take a wide stride with toes pointed out a bit. Oh, a good 30 degrees or so. And today let's just have hands on hips. I'm going to turn sideways so perhaps you can see this alignment a little bit better. That as my shins come forward, my torso comes into that same alignment. And as my shins come back up straight, my torso comes up straight too. Yeah, all the way up straight. Yeah. So it's exhale, knees come forward, shins come forward. So finding that alignment, shins and torso. Often we get a little bit lazy at the top. We don't want to come all the way up. Oh, there you go, all the way up. Looking straight forward. Just like that first alignment we came to in the practice. Yeah, nice and tall. All right. Next time you come on down, pause. There. So some strength engagement coming here by way of lifting your left heel just maybe 3 inches, and then lifting the right heel about the same height. Descending that left heel down to the count of 3, 2, 1, tap and lift. And now the right heel descending, 3, 2, 1, tap and lift. And now both heels descending. Slow, 2, 1, contact. Heels light. And shins come back, straightening. Torso comes up, straightening. Oh, there we go. There's some engagement. All the way up. Stepping your feet together. We'll take that same movement right into traditional yoga pose, Utkatasana, chair pose. We start with hands on hips. So it's the same movement. It's just feet together. Yeah. So shins come forward. Shins come forward. Torso comes into that same alignment angle as the shins. And shins come back up. Yeah. Standing all the way up. Isn't that interesting? Perhaps you've always stood all the way up when you come up. But what I've noticed over the years, for almost everybody, they keep anticipating that next time going down, torso never gets all the way straight up. So that all the way straight up movement perhaps invites mind to be a little bit more present in order to come straight up. Next time you come on down, pausing there. We'll take our arms straight forward. We'll sit down just a little bit lower. Push down to come up. Arms up, gaze up, looking up, all the way straight up. All right, arms to the side. Let's just do that one more time. Hands on hips. Shins coming forward. Shins and torso matched alignment. Arms forward. Sitting a little bit lower. Arms come up. Shins straighten. Torso straight. Lifting your chin, looking up. All way up, a little bit of a back bend. Coming on down. Okay. Let's just keep moving with sun salutation. Inhale, sweep it out. Exhale, fold. Lifting, extending, folding, upside down. Hands and knees, downward facing dog. Just a breath or two here. Stepping forward, forward, fold. From this fold, let's pause right here in the fold. Pause for just a moment. Put your mind in your feet. Can your mind stay in your feet as you sweep all the way up? And come back on down. All right. So, standing for a moment, getting your alignment. And then we'll bring arms to kind of a goalpost position. And bring elbows together in front first, and then palms. Elbows apart first, and then palms. So this particular movement, setting up some engagement in upper back strength, will come in handy as we move in just a moment into another traditional yoga pose. Next time arms are apart, pausing there. And then like a goalpost, let's tip the goalpost forward. Elbows stay at shoulder height. And then tip the goalpost back. So tip goalpost, tipping forward and back. And just bringing those arms on down. Standing for a moment, perhaps appreciating sense of openness across your chest. All right. Let's take a wide stride and turn left toes in, right toes out. So before I go any farther, you stay right where you are. I'm going to turn just a bit here. With those back toes turned in, front toes turned out. The reason I'm in this orientation so that you can see my hips are not square to the side. They kind of follow that alignment of the back foot. Back foot is in just a bit, hips are turned just a bit. That particular alignment, more optimal for healthy hips. And then it's front knee coming forward and coming back. And as knee moves forward and back, noticing how support in that front foot may shift from forefoot up by the toes to more or less back by the heel. See if you can, without looking, I guess that wouldn't be a see ya. Let's do it another way. Let's say it another way. Without looking, can you find knee over center of the front foot without looking, just finding knee over center of the front foot? That's right. You can tell by how the support falls in that foot, about equal front to back. And then bringing that same sense of equality and support to the back foot. Back foot, equal support side to side, front to back. Hands to heart, lifting your elbows, extending your arms. Yeah. And perhaps you've already noticed how my torso, my arms, don't align with the angle of my front leg. They're slightly turned out to the side in that same angle as the back foot. Bringing hands, the heart pressing down to come up, stepping your feet together. And let's go right to the other side. So this time I am going to turn fully sideways so you can get the full idea of how that angle looks. It's back foot turning in, front toes turning out. And so here are my hips, not to the side, not to the front, about in the middle, the angle of that back foot. Then now front knee comes forward and it comes back. Yeah. So this particular alignment, perhaps not something you're used to practicing with, but over the years, over the decades, we've learned that this particular orientation of the hips is more optimal for long-term hip health. Next time that front knee is forward, pausing there, bringing hands to heart. And now see, without looking at your front leg, if you can find that middle ground where knee is about over the center of your foot, using that movement to perhaps bring mind a little more present, finding center of the foot without looking, by feeling weight distribution in the foot, and bringing that same awareness now to the back foot as you lift your elbows, extend your arms, looking out over that right hand. Yeah. Let's push down to come up. Step your feet together. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, forward. Just keep moving. Bit of a lift, inhale. Upside down. Exhale. Let's just sweep right back up. Sweep it all the way right back up. All right. So remember that goalpost tipping we did just a minute ago? Let's just revisit that quickly right here. So goalpost, elbows at shoulder height, goalpost tipping forward, and then tipping back just a bit. One more time. Goalpost tipping back. Okay. Taking a wide stride. Left toes turn in, right toes turn out. Exhale. Taking the front knee, right knee forward. And now tipping at your hips. Bringing hand to shin just below your knee. And let's begin to straighten that front knee, but not by moving the knee, by taking your hips back towards the back foot, and see how the support begins to shift now from the front foot a little bit more to the back foot as hips draw back, 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 back. Or maybe front leg doesn't come all the way straight. That free arm, upper arm going up towards the ceiling. And then if you'd like a little bit more engagement, that would be that straight up towards the ceiling arm, bringing that hand behind your head, turning to look up at the ceiling. So a little bit of an alignment adjustment here could be that back leg rotating forward, back kneecap pointing towards, peeking towards the front foot. Maybe allows you to open to the ceiling just a bit more. All right. Let's bring that upper arm down. Take the front knee, right knee forward, pressing down to go, stepping feet together. So there was a lot of information, but not to worry, we'll practice it again on the other side. Taking a wide stride, right toes turn in, left toes turn out. Exhale, taking the left knee forward. Let's straighten that front leg, left leg. Wouldn't it be interesting to find, without looking, to find knee over center of the front foot, using that movement to perhaps engage mind in a little bit more present way, and then tipping at your hips, and then bringing hand to shin, and then bringing arm. Well, yeah, let's bring the arm up. Let's bring the arm up. That front leg is still bent, isn't it? Taking hips up and back. Hips, 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 hips. Coming back. Yeah. So you're free to stay right here and gaze up towards the ceiling. And you're free to take that back leg rotated forward. See if that allows you to gaze a little bit more directly up. And perhaps even bringing that upper arm back behind your head. All right. Let's bring that arm down. Bring the knee forward. Pressing down to come up. Stepping feet together. Let's even things out. Inhale, sweeping out. Exhale, fold. Beautiful lifting. Upside down. Exhale. Come into hands and knees. Let's come all the way down and revisit the downward facing dog. Kind of a release for those hips. Coming back to hands and knees. Stepping forward, forward. Hold. Bit of a lift here. Exhale upside down and then sweep it all the way up. All the way sweeping up. Okay. Standing with feet together, hands on hips. How about stepping back with your left foot stepping back, but not all that far, so that both feet can comfortably be on the floor. Here it comes. A little bit of a movement as a tool to perhaps engage presence of mind. How are we going to do that? Well, let's take that front knee, right knee forward until it lands right about over the center of the front foot. And you can tell by the feeling, the felt sense in that front foot. And support is not over the forefoot, not over the heel, somewhere in the middle. All right. Finding that somewhere in the middle spot, and then tipping at your hips, inclining your torso forward, torso parallel to the floor. Front knee is still over the foot, isn't it? Just like we did in triangle pose a moment ago, bringing hips back, hips drawing back. Now support shifting pretty much equally into front foot, back foot. And rounding, coming all the way, looking back at your back foot. And then coming back, torso parallel to the floor. Bringing that front knee forward over the foot, center of the foot, there it is. Pushing down to come. Stepping your feet together. Standing for a moment. Checking in left side, right side. Yeah, one side feel a little bit more light and lively, the other side a little bit more grounded and steady. Let's take advantage of that grounded, steady side. Perhaps the foot that was just forward. That stays on the ground and the left leg crosses over. Toes on the floor, kickstanding down. And then rather than crossing arms, let's just bring elbows together, forearms and palms together. And on an exhale, folding, bringing elbows towards your knees. You might not come all the way down there. Really feeling the support in that right foot, the planted foot, dropping your hands towards the floor, keeping your mind in that planted foot as you inhale, sweep up. Going to the other side. So pyramid pose on the other side would be now right foot stepping back. And you're welcome to use this front knee, left knee coming over the foot as an opportunity to find the knee over center of the foot. That movement tool, perhaps bringing mind a bit more present. And then tipping at your hips, aligning torso to the floor. And also aligning hips, shoulders, and ears so that head doesn't bow down to the floor. So front knee is still over the foot, isn't it? If we take our hips back, support between the front and back foot now begins to shift, coming into the back foot just a little bit more, using that movement and awareness of support. Bringing mind a bit more present, and then just rounding down, looking back at your back foot. Just a breath here before you come back up toward torso parallel to the floor. Take the front knee, left knee forward, pressing down to come up, stepping feet together. Now, eagle pose on the other side now. Well, we could pause for a moment if you want to, just to feel the difference side to side. Maybe one side now a little bit more grounded. Yep, that would be perhaps the leg that was forward just a minute ago. Yeah, so left leg as support, right leg crosses over. Bring in elbows, forearms, and palms together. Folding elbows towards your knees. Feeling the support in that left leg and foot. Keeping your mind there as you drop hands to the floor. Keeping your mind in your foot. Inhale, sweeping up. All the way up. All right. Okay. Let's head for the floor by way of a sun salutation. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, fold. Bit of a lift, extending through the crown of your head. Exhale, upside down, coming to hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Feeling some length between hands and hips, and perhaps even elbow alignment. Neck, ears, with that same angle, that same alignment. Coming to hands and knees. Stepping your right foot forward between your hands. Straightening the back leg, left leg. Bringing forearms to thigh. And then hands to heart. And coming up. Torso straight up and down. Front leg, front knee, right knee. Coming forward and back just a few times. Next time, knee is over foot. Yeah, perhaps there's an opportunity for presence of mind here. Okay, arms reaching forward, arms reaching out. Yeah, and maybe even just a little bit of a glance up towards the ceiling. Sweeping arms on down, coming to hands and knees. Finding downward facing dog. Yeah. Aligning hips, shoulders, hands, and even ears. Noticing difference, any difference side to side. Before you come back to hands and knees, and now it's left foot forward, right leg straightens. Forearms to thigh, hands to heart. Torso coming into that straight up and down. Remember way back when, yeah, the very first thing, feeling that same straight up and down right here as now left knee straightens and comes forward. Forward and back with that front knee, left knee. Just a few times. Next time it comes forward, pausing there. Reaching arms forward, reaching arms out. Just a little bit of a tilt to look up. Hands to heart. Arms to the hands to the floor. Coming to hands and knees and downward facing dog. Yeah, so knees bent, heels off the floor is a little bit more accessible to align hips, shoulders, hands, and ears. Coming back to hands and knees. Let's come on to your back for just a moment here, and we'll be on the floor for the rest of the practice. So if this is a place where you might like to move your device so that you can view everything and be on the floor, this would be the time to do it. Coming onto your back and taking those feet, those knees out a little ways and pointing your toes towards the ceiling. And then grabbing your thighs with your hands and using your hands to walk up, walk up, walk up, walk up. And then we'll do the same thing going back down. So remember how we engaged abdominal strength a little while ago, engaging it here with a slightly different alignment. Yeah. Heels a little bit farther away, toes pointed towards the ceiling, and using hands and arms to assist rolling up and down, engaging in just a little bit different way. Next time you come back, not all the way to the floor, about halfway to the floor. And then let's, I changed my mind. Let's come all the way back up for just a moment here. And we'll add an intervening movement before we go where originally I thought we would. It's just sitting, now with soles of the feet on the floor and slightly leaning back. And taking arms, hands, both hands to one side, bringing them up and over and taking them to the other side. Yeah, so this particular movement, seeing if you can keep soles of the feet, even pads of the toes, now on the floor. So we were doing something a bit earlier, toes were pointing to the ceiling. This time, pads of the toes on the floor. Yeah, still different engagement, different alignment, different engagement. All right. And now grabbing behind your thighs. And now bringing feet up. Yep, good old boat pose. And perhaps you can stay here with hands on back of the thighs, or you may be able to take both hands off. You may be able to bring torso and knees towards and away from each other. Yeah, the boat kind of rocking on the waves. Yeah, so you're free to stay where we were or to move into this particular alignment and motion. All right, let's not overdo it. Coming back up to seated, hands on knees coming all the way back out to your back. Drawing those knees in towards your chest. Rocking side to side. All right. And then with knees drawn in, rolling all the way over onto your shoulder, like you're going to sleep on your side with knees drawn up at a 90-degree angle. And then taking that top leg, right leg straight out away from you. And that bottom hand, bottom arm, left arm is going to come on top of the thigh. Leg's going to try to lift towards the ceiling. Hand is going to resist it as you open your torso back towards the ceiling. So we've got an interesting opportunity for alignment here. That would be leg and outstretched arm in the same line. And outstretched leg, foot, perhaps able to draw some circles, ankle circles, going in both directions. Best you can, maintaining that leg and arm alignment. Leg tries to lift, hand resists. Other arm is outstretched, just off the floor. All right. First transition is bringing that foot, that leg back in, bringing the arm up, and then just rolling over onto your other side. Same movement on the other side. But perhaps you've noticed something, that we're kind of in an orientation that we were a bit earlier. And it would be an opportunity for maybe head to rest a little bit down, maybe lower flank to lift a little bit up, as that top leg, now left leg, comes straight forward, as the right hand now holds it down as leg wants to lift up, and as arm opens, left arm opens, back of the head resting on the floor. Alignment here is leg and arm. Head is resting. And then a few circles, toe circles with that outstretched top leg, left leg. A few toe circles while the leg tries to lift and the hand gives it some resistance, holding it down. Okay. First transition on this side is same thing. Leg comes in first. Arm comes over. Coming onto your back. Draw knees in towards your chest. So hands on knees, fingertips pointing towards your toes. Exhale, draw knees in. And inhale, letting knees go back out. So not a lot of movement here. No need for special alignment because floor is already doing that for you. Next time knees are drawn in, just crossing your ankles, reaching up and grabbing big toe on either foot. And then rocking side to side. And with that grab on the big toe, perhaps pulling big toe out away from the foot. Hands pulling on big toe. And then we'll just cross ankles over the other way. And same thing. Now, perhaps hands don't go all the way up to your feet. Maybe they just come to shins. Maybe they just come to ankles. Whatever is true for you. The main thing here is to just feel that release and alignment, hips, shoulders, and ears. All right. And then bring feet to the floor. So you're welcome to keep knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor right here. Or you can let your legs go straight out, whichever is more useful for you today. So here we are. We're not moving. Floor is taking care of the alignment. But hopefully you're still breathing. So breath awareness. Just like sitting on the beach watching the waves come. Waves arise somewhere out there. They move towards you and they dissolve. You can consider your breath a wave of energy. It arises. It dissolves. Perhaps that image of the wave, or perhaps just following breath rising spontaneously, breath dissolving effortlessly. One of these next inhales, drawing it just a little bit deeper, a little bit longer, letting that exhale sigh out. Eyes are closed, opening your eyes, rolling to one side, then coming seated. So we'll come seated first, and then take a collective inhale, arms sweeping up. Exhale, hands to heart. Namaste. Thank you for coming to practice.